Well, hello and welcome. We have a great guest with us today. We are about to release our MediaCenter 10.7, which has been a hugely anticipated release because it's flash-free. So we're moving into HLS streaming, a huge update. And so if you guys don't know, I'm Greg Allen, Senior Director of Customer Experience. And with me today I have...
I'm Jason Henneman. I'm the Quality Assurance Manager for Collective.
Great. So Jason and his team have been working really hard on the back end to make sure that everything works really well. And I think we're really excited to share that for an end user, they don't have to do anything different and they get the complete flash-free experience. So we're going to walk you through how to set up those events so that they are HLS enabled, and then also kind of what that looks like behind the scenes. Because if you're an end user, nothing really looks like it changes, but there's no flash. All right, so as we dig in here, so we're looking at creating a new live event. In this interface, nothing much has changed up front. The title and description are all the same. And so I'm just going to give this a quick test name here. And then the external encoder we'll cover at the end of the video. But then going into the transcode profile, now we have some options here. So this is something that's new. And so what this means is that the source pass-through only means that we're taking that original RTMP stream that we're getting, and now we're actually going to duplicate that stream, right? Mm-hmm. So we're taking that RTMP stream, and we then create an equal transcode of that in RTMP and in HLS for end users. Mm-hmm. So let's talk real quick about requirements. So obviously we're doing this stuff on the back end. So this new architecture is we receive one RTMP stream, and we'll make 2+ streams that are RTMP and HLS for end users. How do end users actually get access to HLS?
Well, so the key is to have the 10.6 agent, the 10.6 agent. All the agents before that, the 10.5.4 and anything older, will still pull RTMP.
Got it.
And so, but 10.6 and above will be HLS.
So really, it's just a upgrade to upgrade your agent to 10.6. Yeah. If you guys have not yet done that, please reach out to support@collective.com, and we'll be able to get you an install package, and you can start testing with that right away. We'll also have an early release we call our eval release of MediaCenter 10.7, which should be available within the next week or so. And so make sure and reach out so you can start with that testing before it goes live. And we'll talk about when it goes live here in just a few minutes. Okay, so let's see. We've got a few different options here on the transcode profile. We talked briefly about what that pass-through means. If we go up here to the source pass-through, and then it says comma, and it's got these other values here. What does that mean?
Well, so we're going to transcode the stream as it comes through. Like I said, it's RTMP, and then it's going to be turned into HLS and also RTMP. So source pass-through means that we'll just leave the bit rate alone. If you send in a 1 megabit stream, it will come out at 1 megabit. The other values there, 600 and 300, would be the values that it would be down or transcoded down into.
Okay, well, let's take a look, because I know once we actually set up a stream, MediaCenter will show you all the different profiles that are created. So let's go ahead and go through the rest of the process, and people will be able to see what that looks like. This authentication piece just allows you to add authentication between your encoder and our server, if that's something you want to do. For the demo today, we're just going to do no authentication just to keep it simple. So we're all set here. None of the options below have changed. If you're interested in any of those options, we have some other MediaCenter training videos that you can go check out. So we're going to go ahead and publish that, and then once it's been published, we're going to go over to that event and take a look at the details here. And so as that loads, what it's going to give us is the primary and backup RTMP sources of where we're sending our stream. So nothing's changed in that workflow. We're still accepting an RTMP stream, so most of the encoders out there that you have been using still be able to use. There's nothing that changes in that. And your workflow so far is pretty much the same, other than just choosing a new transcode profile. So what we're going to do here is I've got my OBS software encoder. It's an open source encoder. Works great for demo. Probably wouldn't recommend it for something like an all hands or a really important meeting, but it works great for testing. I just would say it's probably not the most reliable. We have a lot of other options. If you're interested in an encoder discussion, please reach out to your customer success manager, or we also have some information listed on our Collective University website. So once I have the website URL here, I've got just a looping video that's going here in the background, and so now I'm just going to point my software encoder to the Collective server. So I'm going to go here into my settings, and in the stream, I'm going to go ahead and paste that And then also, we don't actually care too much about the stream name. So what I've got here is just stream, and that's just going to show that it's picking up the information there.
Yeah.
So I've got this all set. What I'm actually streaming this at is a 720p 1 meg per second for the video, and then 96 kilobits per second for the audio. So I'm going to go ahead and start that streaming. I get a little green light here at the bottom, which means that we're going. And so back here in MediaCenter, I'm just going to go ahead and refresh the page and see what MediaCenter generates from giving just that one RTMP stream to the collective server. Mm-hmm. So you can see right here, now it generated 6 streams. Yeah. So I've got the original in RTMP, mm-hmm. and I've got a copy of that in HLS. And then because we selected this transcode profile, it also made an additional one in RTMP for each, and an additional one in HLS for each.
Yep. That's pretty slick.
That's it. So now let's give it a try. Let's go and watch this and see what happens.
Okay. Do you want to mention real quick that it's 1,000 bit rate of video, but 96 of audio?
Great point. So as you can see here, this says 600, 300, and we can see it's 1096, 696, and 396. And that's because that 300 kilobits per second or 600 kilobits per second is the video part. We default to 96 kilobits per second audio in stereo for all the transcode profiles.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and watch this event. Before I hit play, though, I'm going to show you guys, I'm here in Chrome, and I've got Flash completely turned off. There's no whitelisting. Flash has been blocked. Or, I'm sorry, block sites from using Flash, right? Mm-hmm. So if I go back here now, and you can see, just keeping me honest, I've got my 10.6 agent installed here on Mac. We have a 10.6 agent for both Mac and PC. So now I'm going to go and start the event. And as I push play, something that we've added new is this prefetch. What can you tell us what that's about?
Yeah, it's a bit of a progress bar. In the past, we had a thing called a pre-roll, where there'd be some bubbles just to fill the time while the agent gets the stream from our server. And now we've just changed the mechanism behind it a little bit. And so, it's a little different, but
okay.
Yeah, it's usually quite quick. The first agent to join a new event will have a bit of a longer wait, while the first one that requests the stream, the system does some caching and makes the stream available. And so, so the first joiner suffers a little bit of a lag of a penalty there, but all the subsequent requests will be quicker.
Yeah, so basically they're filling up their buffer so they can start sharing that with anyone else who may be peering with them. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so we're playing. So as you can see, we never enabled Flash. There's no Flash running in Chrome. I'm getting this just like I would how I used to. So another way you can double check is if you do a right click on the video screen itself, it's showing me that it's using JW Player 7.12. If it was using Flash, it would actually say Flash and give the Flash version. So just a quick proof that we're actually Flash free. Yeah, pretty cool. One other thing that's really nice that's happening in conjunction with the 10.7 MediaCenter release is we're also going to be releasing our Analytics 10.9. And I have a little preview of that here. There's maybe a couple changes between what's happening in what you're seeing and what actually makes it into the live product. But you can see here in our live event summary, we're actually showing now which formats are generated in the MediaCenter live event. And then as you come down into the agent viewer details, you'll be able to see what browser and browser version and bitrate people are actually watching the stream at. So as we're allowing additional capabilities and functionality in MediaCenter, we want to make sure and mirror that in our analytics product to give you guys the most information about what's happening across the organization. So let's talk about, we said we were going to come back to external encoders. So let's go back and take a quick look at that. So if we go back here, so the external encoders option really allows you to, if you have the same like hardware encoder, maybe in a rack or something you don't want to go and touch very often, this allows you to kind of use that encoder over and over again and basically assign a URL source to that encoder. So then you can assign that encoder to a live event and you don't have to worry about the URL, it's already all set up, right? So we've got just a kind of an example here. So we have this elemental encoder, and what you can see here is it gives us a primary and backup URL, and that actually never changes. Mm-hmm. So it's really easy to set up. You just basically would go here to register. You put in your information, and once you say save, it's going to generate those URLs for you. A very simple, straightforward process. Mm-hmm. So now once I go to create a live event, you're going to see that in that external encoder, I have that option for the dropdown. So here we'll call this the elemental, and then I'm just going to use test. We actually have the elemental assigned to something else right now, but you can see
it's an important caveat. You can only have an external encoder assigned to a single event at a time.
Great point.
When the event is ended, then it becomes free again.
Yes, correct. So external encoder, we've got it aligned to test. Well, all of a sudden, I can't change this transcode profile. What do I need to do?
Well, it'll be locked in at this point. If you'd like to make a change at this point, you can release the external encoder and change your transcode profile.
That's easy enough.
Yeah.
And then once I hit publish, it's going to lock that in, right? So anytime that you select a transcode profile, as soon as you create that live event, that transcode profile is locked into that live event for the life of that live event.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a quirk of the way that the events exist, that they start in a running state, so they're locked in there.
Okay. One other thing we want to talk about is how we generate these streams is off of one RTMP stream, right? So we get that one RTMP stream that comes in, and then we split it into multiple depending on the transcode profile that you've selected. But what happens if, let's say that I'm trying to send you multiple streams, what will happen?
Well, it's an important change in a producer workflow, where previously you'd have to send multiple streams. Now we'd only like you to send one stream. If you send multiple streams, then whichever stream arrives first will be the one that's being consumed by the system. So if you send 3 streams, one at a low bit rate, one at a medium, and one very high, if the low bit rate stream arrives first, then that's the one that will go into the system and be transcoded. And that means that it may very well be upscaled from a low bit rate up to the 600 there, and that can cause some lower quality.
So best practice would be whatever you're looking to stream, send us one stream of the highest quality that you want to be either the pass-through or equal or above what the highest transcode profile number is.
Yep.
Okay. And then that also impacts potentially live events that you create before we update to 10.7. So we're trying to give a ton of notice so that everyone knows the dates that their production system is going to be updated to 10.7. But let's say that I've created a live event and it's supposed to happen next week, and actually later this afternoon we updated to 10.7. What would I need to do?
Well, we're trying to make it as simple as possible. So we've chosen the source pass-through as the default. So after the upgrade, all of the previously existing events will have source pass-through as their transcode profile. And in that case, whatever you do send into the system will pass through and come out the other end. If you really need it to transcode to a lower bit rate, then we recommend that you create a new event.
Okay, so that's really the easiest way of saying, hey, if you know 10.7 is coming, make sure that any events that are happening before your date can be whatever your standard workflow is now. Anything that's going to be happening after that date, we want to make sure that you create that event after the 10.7 update.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, we keep talking about when this thing's going to be available. What I can tell you right now is we have November 17th is going to be our first deployment in our Prod 3 system. And then the other production systems are going to be cascading from that. There's obviously Thanksgiving and some other holidays that are happening in that time. So for the exact dates that are going to be those production releases, we'd recommend that you talk to your customer success manager. They'll be able to give you a little bit more details as far as when it will be available. So again, the real quick is that you need to get that 10.6 agent out there and deployed as soon as possible. Once that's there, really that's the only requirement. And so we definitely want you guys to get out there and give it a try. We're also going to be giving an early release of this in our eval system. So it's a separate system completely. It's not meant to be production, but it's something you can start to do testing against. And so if you're interested in getting access to that, again, talk to your customer success manager or just send a quick email to support@collective.com. If you liked this video, hopefully you did, give us a thumbs up. Let us know if there's something that we missed along the way. We'd love to hear your feedback, and hopefully we'll have a lot more of these videos coming. So Jason, thanks so much for joining us.
Cheers, Greg.
And looking forward to this 10.7 release. Great.